If the Mekong Delta is called Vietnam's Rice Bowl, the Long Xuyen Quadrangle is the Rice Bowl of the Rice Bowl. More than 20 years after the T5 Canal's launching, the Long Xuyen Quadrangle has developed into one of the Mekong Delta's two key rice production areas. To be honest, the rapid change in the Long Xuyen Quadrangle is because of the impact of the T5 Canal. Since agriculture is our means of subsistence, and agriculture depends on water, water is the wellspring of life. This success bears the strong imprint of Prime Minister Vinh. So now, people simply call it Mr. Keats Canal. Calling it Prime Minister Vinh T5 Canal is too long-winded. Therefore, they simply refer to it as Mr. Keats Canal. People rely on the land to live. The land relies on people for its name. The name has gone down in history, deeply etched in the hearts of the people of the Long Xuyen Quadrangle. This Long Xuyen Quadrangle area used to be deeply flooded and heavily acidic due to high alum content in the soil. People only grew seasonal rice, just one crop a year. On average, 1,000 square meters would yield around 160 to 200 kilograms. 200 kilograms was already considered good. Success or failure depended entirely on the weather. 6 months walking on water, 6 months treading on dry land. The Long Xuyen Quadrangle is an area in the Mekong Delta stretching over a vast area of nearly 490,000 hectares across 3 provinces and cities, An Giang, Kiên Giang, and Can Tho. We arrived at Lac Khoi Commune, Tri Ton District in Giang Province. Here, in April 1997, the important irrigation project, named T5 Canal, was officially started. After just 4 months, the T5 Canal was completed and began its crucial mission of draining acidity, washing away alum, and bringing fresh water deep into the fields during the long dry months. Throughout the rainy flood season, the canal becomes a vital waterway for draining floodwaters to the West Sea, allowing the residents of the Long Xuyen Quadrangle to confidently grow rice and achieve a prosperous life. The golden ripened rice paddies are entering the peak harvest season, a joyful time for farmers. It's hard to believe that this lush field was once a barren, alum-affected wasteland more than 20 years ago. Now, the Long Xuyen Quadrangle supplies 5 to 6 million tons of rice annually, accounting for about 25% of the Mekong Delta's rice production. Farmers in the area typically produce 2 rice crops per year, with some places even managing 3 crops. The rice from the Long Xuyen Quadrangle has high yields, good quality, and meets export standards. Those who cherish the land will not betray their efforts. People here rely primarily on rice farming. They used to raise only one crop a year, and for the second crop, they frequently planted pumpkins. Before having the T5 Canal, most people grew an abundance of cucurbita pepo, which produced fruits as large as conical hats. They could only grow one rice crop, and the other season, they left the land fallow. The land was parched, and there was no water to pump. Rice could only be grown during the water season. They would sow rice before the water season. When the rice was about knee-high, the water would flood in, and as the rice grew taller, the water level would rise with it. The region has come a long way since the days before the T5 Canal. The transportation infrastructure is now vastly improved, and the economy is much more prosperous. Life was significantly more difficult before the T5 Canal was created. I used to walk a considerable distance to the other side of the field to graze my cattle, then walk the entire way back. As for pumpkins, I used to grow one rice crop, then planted pumpkins, and when harvesting, I had to use ox carts to bring them back. But since the T5 Canal, I just need to bring them here, and trucks come to transport them right away. It's much easier. The T5 Canal is the longest in the T4, T5, T6 canal system, stretching 48 kilometers from the Vinh Canal through Lac Khoi Commune, Tri Ton District and Giang Province to Hundat area, Kien Giang Province. People in this area still refer to the T5 Canal as Mr. Keat's Canal in honor of Prime Minister Vinh Keat, who initiated the canal system to drain floodwaters into the West Sea and construct dikes for rice production. The old-timers, who have lived here for generations, fondly remember the time when Prime Minister Vinh Keat, or Uncle Sao Zan, as he was affectionately known, joined forces with scientists and farmers, wading through fields on countless expeditions across the Long Xuyen Quadrangle. Their shared goal was to find fundamental solutions for this land, transforming it into a fertile land, a large-scale rice production region, and improving the lives and incomes of the farming community. Mr. Nguyen Minh Nhi, former chairman of Giang Provincial People's Committee, one of those directly involved in the Long Xuyen Quadrangle development program, initiated by Prime Minister Vinh Keat, still clearly remembers that time. Initially, scientists proposed a series of solutions and projects. However, finding the feasible solution, the choice that suited the actual natural conditions at that time, was the real challenge. The decision to dig the canal system through the Long Xuyen Quadrangle is a historic story. This area was very difficult, so when we took on the Long Xuyen Quadrangle development program, no one believed we could do it. I was born in Nong Hung, so I knew this area very well. At the August conference, I told Mr. Keat that I had grown up drinking alum-rich water, so he shouldn't worry. As long as there was water, everything would be fine. I persuaded Mr. Keat to agree, and brought Mr. Ba Zung, Mr. Sao Kai, and Mr. Nguyen Kong Tun along with us on multiple trips. After reaching a unanimous decision, we decided to dig. Mr. Keat was very careful. He formed an advisory group, including academician Nguyen Vinh Hiu, Professor of Water Resources Engineering Ho Tien, Professor of Water Resources Engineering Sin Wei, and Mr. Sao Thong. When Mr. Keat made the decision, I was so happy. I even roasted to pigs for an offering. The primary purpose of the T5 Canal was flood drainage, because the flooding was so severe that only digging like this could reduce flooding in the Long Xuyen Quadrangle. Next was to drain acidity, bring in fresh water. And thirdly, it was linked to the land reclamation. The day Prime Minister Vinh Keat decided to dig the T5 Canal to bring fresh water deep into the fields, to drain acidity, wash away alum to the West Sea, and improve agricultural land. Many people still didn't believe it was a feasible solution. For hundreds of years, this land had been controlled by nature, and digging canals would directly change the ecosystem. This could have a significant impact on the alum pockets in the soil, resulting in the opposite outcome and rendering rice production impossible. Mr. Keat paid great attention to every topic, not just in general but in detail as well. However, once he had heard enough information, he would make a decision. Those conscious decisions were not always entirely supported by everyone around. Like in Nzang, after several trips along the Vinh Canal to decide on digging the drainage canals, specifically the T5 and T6 canals, there were a lot of conflicting opinions, as well as those based on scientific theory. And if we followed the theory, it would have been impossible to decide to dig these canals. He had, however, paid attention to the current situation in the Long Xuyen Quadrangle and on the Vietnam-Cambodia border. Finally, he had made the decision, which was absolutely reasonable, with immediate effectiveness. It is why it's now just known as Mr. Keat's Canal. It would be too wordy to refer to it as Prime Minister Vinh Keat's T5 Canal. People just call it Mr. Keat's Canal because this canal has transformed the entire Long Xuyen Quadrangle area, including parts of Nzang Province and parts of Ha Tien Town in Kinh Giang Province. The day the T5 Canal received its first flow of fresh water, everyone was excited and joyful. In that cool, sweet water flow, there was sweat, tears, effort, and belief in a bright future opening up ahead. Walking along the T5 Canal today, we truly admire the correct decision and strategic vision of Prime Minister Vinh Keat. That's also the reason why the local people still affectionately call the T5 Canal Mr. Keat's Canal. Along with the canal, on both sides of the flood prevention dikes, are clear, straight roads. People can travel easily, and living conditions have improved in all aspects. As a result, people from all over have united here to work together in reclaiming fields and building their lives. As material and spiritual life has changed, people's knowledge has also improved. A generation of knowledgeable, diligent farmers who are quick to grasp and apply science and technology to rice cultivation has emerged. Thus, production costs have fallen, while income has increased, particularly by increasing the value of rice from the Long Xuyen Quadrangle. This vast rice field belongs to Mr. Nguyen Van Dat. Today's sweet success comes from his months of hard work in the fields. This is his second homeland, but it's also where he has put a lot of energy and set the most expectations. Leaving his hometown in the upstream district of Phuoc, in Nzang Province, he married a woman from this area, and the couple decided to settle here. After their wedding, the old land welcomed the newcomer. When Mr. Dat arrived, the T5 Canal had just been dug, but the land wasn't as fertile as it is now. The couple's tasks at the time included both rice cultivation and field improvement. Thanks to his keen observation and understanding of natural conditions, weather, and tides, he proactively adjusted the crop calendar and chose suitable rice varieties. Now, the couple has a stable life with rice farming. I am cultivating over 10 hectares of land. I've been farming here since this canal was dug to drain the alum water. When I first came here in 2002, this field wasn't as good yet. There was alluvium but still acidic. Thanks to this canal, draining and washing away the acidity, life has become less difficult in recent years. With the acidity drained, farming is easier. Previously, I had to spread lime, phosphate, even cement. But now, the canal brings in fresh water. Farming is much better. In the past, with the acidity, if someone farmed to hectares of land, compared to now with the acidity gone, farming for hectares is still easier. Because I had to apply phosphate and spray to reduce acidity and all sorts of things. It was really hard. When the acidity surfaced, I had to treat it and add more fertilizer to make it good. Fortunately, we now simply spread fertilizer and spray pesticides at the appropriate times. It's easier than in the past. A few years ago, I could barely handle approximately 2 hectares. However, with 4.0 farming techniques and drones for spraying, it has become considerably less laborious. I can spray the entire field in one day. In general, since this canal was built, everyone here is happy. That's why, when people mention the Mr. Keats Canal, they immediately know about this canal. On the vast fields of the Long Xuyen Quadrangle today, farmers like Mr. Dat are not only skilled in farming, but also astute in understanding the market. They are beginning to think more about production procedures, which enhances the rice's quality after harvest, uses sustainable cultivation methods, and contributes to elevating the brand of Vietnamese rice. This is also aimed at proactively linking production with the market, so that farming not only ensures a livelihood, but can also create wealth, as every golden season is filled with joy. The T5 Canal, which has passed into history, has brought modifications in the Long Xuyen Quadrangle. To commemorate the merit of the land opener, on July 10, 2009, the People's Council of An Giang Province decided to rename the T5 Canal to Vo Vinh Keat Canal. On this canal today, stories of prosperous lives and faith in the future are still going on. We'll continue our journey to share with you other interesting stories in the upcoming episodes of our documentary series.